What I want to do in this video is demonstrate how to splice lead core and make your own lead core leaders. Now, lead core fulfills two jobs. One, it helps you to cast out without getting any tangles, because it's quite a stiff material, so it won't tangle and it won't allow your hook link to tangle around it, in theory. It does do sometimes, but it does cut down a hell of a lot of tangles. And secondly, it helps everything behind your lead blend into the lake bed by creating a bit of extra weight so it sinks down a little bit. And they're the two jobs it performs. Now, splicing lead core is quite a simple and easy thing to do, but I do see a lot of people on the bank get it wrong. Now, if you get it wrong, you can have all sorts of issues. You can have crack-offs, loose fish, or create a death rig, which is definitely what you don't want to do. So I'm going to show you now how to tie up and how to splice lead core leaders nice and safely. Now, I know you can buy them from the shops, pre-spliced, pre-tied, and all in nice shiny packets that are dead easy to use, but it is very, very useful to do it yourself. I mean, this one here is a gravel brown one. I've got a weedy green one there as well. There's some silk ones, and people do all sorts of different colours, so it's important to colour match what lead core you're using to what bottom you're fishing over. I've been out in a boat and looked through a glass bottom bucket, and if you've got a dark bit of lead core on some light gravel, it stands out like a sore thumb, trust me. I mean, you could probably explain that the fish see it as a stick or whatever else, but it does stand out, so it is important to colour match it. And also, you might want to change things to the situation you're fishing in. I mean, if you're fishing a very silty swim, I like to use a long piece of lead core, so it sinks into the silt and just completely disappears really, and keeps a line down on the deck, out of the way of any fish patrolling around the rig. But if I'm fishing supreme long distance, and distance is the primary key, then I'm going to fish a shorter piece of lead core as I possibly get away with. So I'm going to fish one probably 2 inches longer than the rig I'm using, just to stop the tangles. So it is useful to know how to splice and to have all the kit with you on the bank to splice and make up your own leaders to suit the fishing situation you're in. Now, these are all the items I need to tie up my lead core leader to a lead clip system. This is the lead core itself. I've gone for the gravel brown here to fish over a sandy, gravelly bottom. And these are the lead clips that I use at the minute. As you can see, it's all an integral system. This is the clay colour version. I just think, to my eyes, it fits over the gravel a lot better than the gravel coloured ones. But it depends from lake to lake really, whereabouts you fish, to what fits in best with the colour. So the first thing we do is just strip a little bit of lead out of there like that. Take about 3 inches or so out. Snap it off. Put it to one side, and then you fold that back, and then you can actually just feel down for where the lead starts. It starts just there, so you've got that much there to kind of play with and splice. So what we do first is just dig the hook. You can see that there is a little hook just there and a latch. So what we need to do is just dig the hook into the material just after the lead starts, turn it, got that a bit wrong, turn it round and push it through. So you can see that's pushing all the way through inside the lead core. So we go, probably the best thing to do is just a little bit over halfway, then poke it out. Flip the clasp up a little bit, so we've got the clasp. Put this through the eye of the lead clip system and pull it back, and then all we've got to do is just hook this on to the end of the lead core, just like that, and then pull the whole lot back through. And as you can see, that's safe as houses, that's as tight can be. Get a little pair of scissors and just crop off the excess. Some people burn that with a cigarette lighter just to get a little lump on to, show there's no way of that pulling through, but that's pretty tight. As you can see, that's not going to come through. And then the simple case of just pull off as much as you need, so we'll go for about 14 inches, something like that. That's probably more like 18 inches to be fair. And then with the other end, what we need to do is you need to create a little loop so you can tie it onto your main line. So same situation again, just get the lead, pull it all through, pull that back and snap it off, so you've got another section of lead there. But what I find sometimes happens when you do it on this second bit here, you'll pull the lead up the lead core, so it pays you just to feed it back down again, so it's right to the end of the splice on the lead clip side, and then just find where the lead stops again. Get your splicing needle. I mean, these needles are just a latching needle, similar to a lot of the boiling needles on the market, but they're just a bit smaller. So then I hook it underneath, do the same again, just hook it and push it through. Again, just go a little bit over halfway and pop it through like that. So it's gone through, it's made a little hole, and then we just latch it on. When it wants to work, and pull the whole lot through. What I tend to do this time is just a little implement, something like that, just to stop it pulling all the way through, and just leave a loop there. And I'll drop the splicing needle. So then we can use a pair of scissors just to pull it all tight. I'll show you just how to blob it just dead quickly, because some people do like to do this. But you've got to be very careful not to too much on there. Just trim that off. You've got to be very careful not to burn the actual lead core you're using. So just put it down, wet your fingers, blob it, and there's no way that's going to pull through. But you do have to be very careful when you're blobbing it not to make too big a blob, because if you're using an inline lead, it's got to be able to pull over that without any problem at all. So you've just got to make sure you've got the tiniest little blob like I've got on there, just so it's not going to cause an issue for anything. And then what we have to do is just use the splicing needle again to make things easier, just to put the tail rubber on. So just simply put it through there, put it over the loop, and push it all down. Grab a lead, just feed a lead onto the arm and push the tail rubber over. Now what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to put the tail rubbers on far too tightly. I just like to push mine on fairly gently. I mean, that probably won't come off in the take if a fish picks it up, but if it does hit a bit of weed or hits a snag, then that'll just pull off very, very simply, and that's what you need to achieve really. I mean, some people fish it so it comes off on the take. It's not really for me, because you don't want to lose leads when you're fishing in a weed-free situation and you're catching 2 or 3 fish a day. But if you're fishing these big hard pits, then sometimes, well, you definitely want it to come off if it hits weed or hits a snag, but not necessarily on the take. You know, I like the fish to get the full force of the lead to pull that hook home. So yeah, just make sure it just pulls off very, very easily and just makes the rig all nice and safe. You've got to think of the carp's welfare on this one. Now here's the finished leader. I've connected up to a knotless knot rig to make a very simple but very effective setup. Now it'll only take you a few minutes, and even people that are not used to tying rigs up or splicing leaders can sort this setup in seconds, and it will catch you a lot of fish. Give it a try.